Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're back with the Starcraft Let's Play, heading into the third Protoss mission. No real preamble this time, we're just going to jump right into Higher Ground. Map 3. Higher Ground, Citadel of the Executor, 3-1 hours later.
Executor, I bring news most dire. The cerebrate that we thought we had killed has arisen again. The creature's battered form was reincarnated, despite the considerable damage we inflicted upon it. Even now, the cerebrate drives its brood in preparation for their next offensive.
It is as I feared. It was folly to believe Tassadar could be trusted. The Conclave will not soon forget his wanton betrayal. Nevertheless, we must stand resolute. For attacking defenseless cerebrates is not the way of true Protoss warriors. We shall overcome the entire swarm with the might and the fury that is our heritage. Executor, we shall lead our main strike force to the province of Sion, which has fallen to the Zerg. It's time the Zerg felt the wrath of the Sons of Ire. Praetor Fenix will remain here with a small detachment and guard Antioch from any further assaults.
Adun be with you, Executor. Bring swift death to the enemies of Ire.
Man, Bill Roper really needs to figure out how to pronounce words at the appropriate intervals. That first sentence that he delivered, that first dialogue event, was a real struggle, man. I don't know how they shipped that line that way, but all right. So that was the first thing that occurred to me listening to that briefing. The second is obviously the fact that we don't see the cerebrate be reincarnated is pretty lame. The third, because 3, is actually something that's a bit more frustrating. I guess as an aside, I should mention that, yes, Aldaris doesn't know how to say the word Protoss. He says Protiss. You know, like the Protoss sniper. That's like a meme from 2003 or something, so enjoy that. Good luck researching that. So the biggest issue here, I think, is the fact that cerebrates are never really explained in terms of how their locomotion works. How do they move around? Why can't we just arbiter stasis them? Why can't we just surround them with an army of zealots that tirelessly attack? Or better yet, some photon cannons or some reavers. I mean, they don't spread creep. They don't move. They're just a building. What is stopping us exactly from annihilating them? And I guess a further point on this is really what we're complaining about is a lack of characterization and at times poor characterization when it comes to the cerebrates themselves. So the poor characterization for you that I wanted to really drive home here is the fact that the Zerg guarding this cerebrate were pushovers, little baby Zerg that didn't even at any point threaten us in any capacity. I mean, obviously in the previous mission I didn't play very well, but I left my base completely unguarded and they didn't even kill a pylon, let alone a probe or anything. So what exactly is supposed to be the threat here? And that's what leads me to my next observation, that cerebrates apparently don't matter that much. I mean, they matter enough for the Overmind to reincarnate them, but if the Zerg aren't even going to bother protecting them, if the Zerg are building sunken colonies on hills despite having no hatchery there, and we won't ask questions about how they got the creep there, but how the fuck are we expected as players to look at this and say, oh yeah, the Zerg really care about their cerebrates when they put colonies away from where the cerebrate is just to attack zealots if they walk near a cliff? Like, all of the strategic decisions made by the pre-placed brigade man who made all of this shit up and placed all of those units and structures, it all tells you a very disconcerting story. And that's where we are now. So yeah, destroy the Zerg colonies. A whole 4 probes. A whole 3 scouts. Well, I will use these to scout. And also to get rid of the supply strain that they are putting on my economy while also being useless. And also to patrol micro against Scourge. Oh, never mind. What's up, bitch? How's it going? Just checking some stuff out, man. Oh, hi. How are you? Dude, for a second, I thought I was having a brain melt because I was pretty sure I just heard the Dragoon say medium intelligence. But that's not what he said at all, so I have no idea. I think there's a base that we can take over here. This is another one of those barren, empty, waste fucking my time maps. I almost said wasteland, but wasting my time map is a better description, I think. At least my nexus isn't so far from the mineral fields. Not this time. There's a gas over there, but I'm pretty sure there's some base I can take. Pretty sure there's some base Mutas doesn't can take. You know what I mean? Wow, maybe there isn't. What the fuck? Oh, I found it! And I found 6 Zerglings. That's cool. Hey, fuck you and your Overlord, dude. Hey, fuck you and your attack at 1 Hydralisk, dude. Can you believe the nerve on these people? Alright, I guess I'll get a Cyber Core. I like how the Zerglings just give up on life after a while. They're like, whatever, man. I'm an evolved creature. I don't need to sit here and do nothing. Like, the very idea, again, talking about trickle-down economics, you're talking about trickle-down effect of being completely brain-dead with your campaign design. I'm just gonna suicide this guy real quick. I guess I can scout White some more. If he survives the red trek, which he will not. Hey man, I'm a new player, okay? I see the word scout on a unit and I assume they're good at scouting, so... Hi. Attack at 2 Hydralisk, by the way. Could have gotten 2 goons, but I wanted +1 faster. I should probably build a fucking photon cannon over here or something. So I should have built the Nexus first, but instead, I spent all my money immediately on other things! Because I'm very intelligent. Very aware of my surroundings. But yeah, I see a unit scout. I think, oh, this is not a frigate, not a gunboat, not something that should be used for war only. This is clearly meant to be a unit that I use to scout. So, yeah. Oh man. What a mess. I guess up next... I mean, who should we even attack first? I don't think it matters. There's a billion sunken colonies over here, so I guess we'll attack White first just to get them off our backs. Fucking Whitey. Can I get a Citadel? Oh, I can. I can get a Citadel and I can get a Stargate. Imagine playing this when the cost of a Stargate was... or cost of a Scout was still 300 minerals. I mean, why would you ever build Scout anyway, but... of course. I'm on my way. Hold on. Check your privilege. Oh. Guess I need to rebuild some pylons. Because that's 3. Thanks. I didn't know that. Oh, that's actually 4. My mistake. Oh no! He's got movement speed, boys! Oh, that looked like he attacked his own Overlord there for a second. That was weird. Hi. Hey, don't mind yourself. Dude, look at how far away this base is. Holy shit. Well, and rebuild that. I don't even know if it's worthwhile to expand in this map, to be honest with you. So I read somewhere, I think it was an interview that, of all people, Necron had with Bob Fitch, the man responsible for most of the AI stuff. I don't think he wrote all the AI, but I know that he wrote he wrote the AI systems or something like that. And so he's basically like the godfather of this shit, for lack of a better term. And he said something to the effect of that you want... at some point that they decided they didn't want the AI attacking players' expansions or something in campaigns. But there's no... I mean, unless that's just a hard-coded check for campaign class AI, there's nothing that says, hey, make sure that you don't attack. Like, it's not like there's a command that tells the AI to do that, or not do that. So, yeah, I don't know. Don't know where he got that idea. Alright, well. Some more of this. You can see how quickly we ballooned to a pretty high supply count relative to some of the other missions. I guess it's nice to not have to suck dick for life in my maps, where, you know, now I'm actually able to play the game to some extent and be exposed for how bad I am at managing supply. I guess I'll drop another gateway. Another issue with the... this is something I realized when I was reviewing... I was watching somebody play... one of my earlier released products in Consummate, a custom campaign. And I was realizing that a lot of the expansions there can't really be engaged with. In the same way that, like, you would want to really oversaturate, or not oversaturate, but you would want to build a lot of workers, right? For the sake of mining resources efficiently, right? But you don't really get a chance to do that, per se, in most cases. Because all of the expansions have basically no money in them. And that was more or less, I mean, design decision, not necessarily informed because of Blizzard's campaigns, but in part. Like, I was still outgrowing a lot of that shitty design philosophy, as evidenced by the fact that the campaign is as bad as it is. So, it's one of those things, is when you don't have a lot of resources in the expansions, you really don't play the same game. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not really able to play anywhere close to the same level as I would. Like, I'm getting a lot of gateways right now, or campaign players think this is a lot of gateways, I'll put it to you that way. But I'm not really doing all that much, and I can't really macro for very long because the bases will mine out before long, you know what I mean? So, like, I can get a couple more probes at that base, but if I really want more, I would need to expand. Now, if I had a base that was sort of like this, I guess... it's still pretty low on resources, only 7 mineral fields, but the fact that it's not going to mine out given enough time, it's pretty good by comparison. Whereas this one only has 5 lasting mineral fields, and this one is like, what, 7 or something? If you can count that lasting. Alright, let's kill this. Meanwhile, Red has fallen asleep. He's decided, fuck this. Oops. Yeah, I almost accidentally quit the fucking game. I guess I was also like, fuck this. But that's a point that, unfortunately, is hard to escape in this context. Because you're dealing with a situation where you can't really play the game. And I know I haven't really been playing the game at any point here. But you can't play the game in any capacity until you get enough resources to be secure. Like in this case, yeah, sure, there's a decently sized number of mineral fields, but they're all like, most of them are close to running out as soon as you set down your nexus. And I can pretty much just move this, but not if my units decide not to go down the ramp, though. In addition to the ramps being relatively small and obviously one size fits all, they also are not pathfind, like the pathfinding is not painted on them in a way that really makes you feel like they were trying to be generous with unit movement. And obviously, like, I'm assuming Blizzard had their own tile set editor tool that would have been easy enough to implement there, but look at all of these sunken colonies. I don't know what this guy even did, besides start with 1 million sunkens. Looks like he got adrenal glands, so that's something. I think that's the last sunken. Right there. Pretty nice. So yeah. If this were a game where I went for longer, I would have been punished for only expanding once. In theory, anyway. Also, the fact that I can only get tier 1 upgrades is pretty shit. But that's another issue with the campaigns. That only in the Zerg campaign is that resolved because of the tech tree changes. Right? Like, the tech tree itself provides you with ways to only get tier 3 upgrades if you have a Templar Archives or science facility or whatever, right? So because of that, you're stuck, basically. Like, you have nothing that you can really benefit from. Oh, okay.
Praetor, you must hold your position for as long as possible. Fight on, brave Fenix, and know that the gods watch over you. Entaro Adun.
So this is another one of those out of left field moments where it's sort of like, it reminds me of the big push mission in the Terran campaign, where at the end, even though Duke was in that mission, unlike Fenix being in this mission, Duke is just like, the emitters are secured and online, sir. And like that, obviously, you had no knowledge of the fact that that was happening. Well, at the same time, it's like if Fenix was under attack by overwhelming Zerg forces, he would have spoken up sooner. If Fenix saw that there was a large number of Zerg, he probably would have said something sooner. Like, there's so many questions that we immediately ask upon hearing that Fenix has been overwhelmed that immediately make you question the sanity of the fucking developers. Like, who the fuck would write a story that looks and plays like this? You know what I mean? Like, if it plays out such that Fenix is meant to be overwhelmed, why not have him actually be overwhelmed instead of, like, setting it up? Like, a Zerg force marches on Antioch. We were just in Antioch. We wiped the entire area clean. We did it with the starting units. We built like 2 extra zealots or whatever, and that was it. That was the first mission. So there should have been some sign that additional Zerg were incoming, instead of it just being a dialogue event that talks about a certain story event and plot event that is in the middle of a completely disconnected, unconnected element of the story. We're over here just killing Zerg for some reason. Actually, it's not even explained in the briefing. He just says that, well, I think he does. He has some line where he says, like, you got to kill these Zerg. But, it's just a throwaway mission to kill Zerg. There's nothing about this that is lasting. It doesn't even make sense with a plot. Like, if the plot is Fenix dies at the end of this mission in a cutscene, which is what happens, why the fuck do we not just experience that? Like, that's just insane to me. They just decided, fuck it, you don't really need to know what's happening with Fenix. Yeah, okay, man. Well, since he's an actual character, unlike this shit, maybe it would have been useful. For some reason, I have a CHK and an oh wait, I have an SEM version of this map, but I don't know why. Anyway. Editor review time, baby. Oh, we listen to the Protoss jingle. So this is our starting base, like I said. The disproportionate amount... Okay, I'll put it to you this way, right? What do you see me do at the beginning of every mission, regardless of what race I am? I build a lot of workers, and then I get like some supply and stuff. But I build a lot of workers. That's what I do at the beginning of every game. Do I build scouts? No. Do I build any real combat units? Not really. I build some defenses maybe if it's like a mission where I have a lot of resources. Maybe I will build some combat units in the early stages of the game, but I prioritize workers, especially when I'm Zerg, but just in general. So what did I do in this mission? I built a ton of probes and I expanded. That was basically the first main decision that I made, is I made the decision to expand. Although I did do it very late. It was after I built a bunch of other shit. In this particular case, I could have just taken that expansion at the beginning of the game with the 3 scouts and then built my gateways. I wouldn't have even needed to do any of that. But look at how much supply they eat up from you just by virtue of you sitting here on these 3 pylons, right? Like, we have 27 starting supply out of 33, so I can only build 6 probes before I have to start slamming down more pylons. Now, that's still more probes than you can build with just a Nexus, but why do I need all of this shit? Like, I certainly don't need scouts. The only reason scouts are pre-placed here is because it's not because you can use them, because there's fucking Scourge everywhere in the white base, and then there's a bunch of Hydras and a couple, like 1 or 2 spore colonies in this base, so in the red base. So there's no reason for you to use scouts. They are a useless unit anyway. And surely Blizzard understood that based on their extreme cost and the fact that they were really only good at countering Guardians that can't defend themselves, battlecruisers, but even then they die a lot, and I guess carriers or something. Like, they're not really good against anything. They're meant to be anti-capital ship, but they're not spammable enough to counter those. You would actually be better off buying a carrier compared to a scout, especially when they would cost 300 minerals on release. So there's really no justification for getting a scout anyway. The only reason they're pre-placed here is because this is the first mission we could build a scout, and the developer said, how do I tutorialize the presence of scouts in the tech tree? I know, 3. And that was their fucking idea of tutorialization. Information control by way of the number 3. North-facing ramp absence really hurts this particular map because there's 2 ways into the Zerg base, but who the fuck would take it this route? A mineral-only base that, well, in order to access this mineral field in the top left, this mineral field in the way back, and this mineral field in the top right, you have to go all the way around all the mineral fields, so that alone kills mineral efficiency. This one's a bit better with mineral efficiency, but as we discussed, it's very limited in terms of resources that have staying power. Yeah, I guess this base is fine because they start with 2 fucking drones, so they don't mine it out very much. But still, you gotta slog through a bunch of pre-placed shit. I guess the personalities behind these AIs were supposed to be that one of them favors air, that being white, and the other one favors hydras, or ground units in general, that being red. But red fell asleep and basically, for all no, he broke. I'm assuming that he just broke, flat out, and doesn't work correctly. And that was never, taken care of. Whereas white at least attacked, but he attacked with ground units mostly. I don't think he ever attacked me with a Mutalisk. Like, maybe I accidentally A-moved a Muta in his attack force when I wasn't looking or something, but I'm pretty sure he just attacked me with ground units only, despite having a pre-placed Greater Spire and a bunch of pre-placed Mutalisks and Scourge. This is where, like, you can tell that the scripts aren't even jiving with whatever the map makers wanted. It's almost like the map makers didn't actually author the scripts or have any input into the scripts themselves, because the guy who made this map clearly wanted this to be an air town, an air-focused player who built a lot of air units, because he pre-placed all this shit that it tells us as much. The guy's got way more of that than Hydras. I don't even think he starts out with any Zerglings, and yet that's all he attacks with. I guess he's got some Zerglings in the fucking woods for some reason, but that's all he attacks with is ground units. Meanwhile, Red, on the other hand, I guess he attacked with 2 Hydras or something, and then I don't remember when he fell asleep, like I said. So I don't even know what his personality was meant to be, but I can infer that it's ground-based, and maybe he would have gotten Ultras in the late game, though I doubt it. I mean, they have access to Hive Tech already, although maybe not. Maybe the Greater Spire is pre-placed, but they only request a Spire, so if you kill that, it's permanent. I don't know. But this guy's got Hive Tech, and he gets Adrenal Glands, so clearly he was doing something, but he just was never attacking for whatever reason. And all in all, it's a fairly boring flat map. The only cases where it's not flat are just the surroundings of these bases, right? So that's pretty much it. There's no way for you to like elevate your Z onto raised jungle or something. Raised jungle ramps do exist in the game, but only from one direction, and they're also completely buildable in addition to being walkable. So it's like they were not even a finished tile, basically. Big surprise. And oh yeah, if you want more tile bugs, take a look at raised jungle itself. Speaking of raised jungle, yeah, they fucked this one up, man. So I still haven't even fixed that in the Hydra tile set, but now that I'm aware of it, I've been aware of it for a while, now that I'm aware of it, that's just embarrassing to me. They did that, and they don't even have inner corners to the tile blends. This is like an Ash World level mistake, where you just don't even have the proper fucking tile, and it's broken. Like, you don't even have a finished tile set. You shipped an incomplete product, an incomplete English sentence, and that is, that's the irony of the whole situation, I guess. So, anyway, this map definitely was pretty much throwaway. Like, not much characterization in it. AI was brain dead, literally in one case. Closest expansion to me is halfway across the map, literally on the other side of the map. And yeah. Just nothing. Just another nothing mission. And we're off. Like dirty underwear. Prayer to Fenix, Protoss Temple Grounds, province of Anticock. Now, what an embarrassing cutscene that was. The Zerg cluster near the Scion province was destroyed, but the Protoss forces paid a high price for their victory. Praetor Fenix, hero and steward of the Templar, was killed during the assault. The Conclave, convinced that its stratagems are winning the war against the Zerg, have let down their guard and turned their attention to personal matters. The Judicator Aldaris was ordered to find and arrest the wayward Tassadar and bring him home to stand trial for his crimes of treason. Now, with only a small fleet for protection, Aldaris and the Executor have traveled to the Ash World of Char, hoping that Tassadar is still somewhere to be found. Alright, before we jump into this mission real quick, I should recap that cutscene, because it is actually important, and I don't mean the lore ramifications of it. I mean, I guess kinda, because... Okay, so there's a couple of immediate inconsistencies. The first of all, why the fuck would his armor shut off? Like, that's the most jarring one, is his armor just, like, loses power for no reason. There's no mechanic that makes zealots lose power to their armor, unless you're talking about, like, stuns, like Maelstrom, but that's not even in this game, that's in Brood War. I'm trying to think of what else. I guess stasis, but that obviously is protective. So yeah, there's nothing that would make Zealot's armor lose power and suddenly they would be unable to attack. There's nothing like that turns off attacks or whatever. So what the fuck would that be? Like, what would it be causing such interference, right? And this is where it's not in sync with the gameplay at all. What the story that is told by the gameplay, the story of Starcraft's races as told by the gameplay, doesn't include anything like that. And if it were so impactful as to kill off a character in the story, I mean, as far as we know at this point, he's dead, but obviously he gets turned into a Dragoon later. That's one of those things where if you're going to use this element of the race, of the thematic or whatever, like, again, the idea that Zerg can do anything that they can do, like spread creep or whatever, that's like an element of their race as far as their identity goes. So if you're going to use something like that, a racial identity thing for Protoss losing power to their armor in the middle of combat or before combat begins, right? If that's your idea of a way to kill off a character, it needs to be something that actually is consistent with our experience. I don't have any real proof one way or the other as to whether or not that zealot was even supposed to be Fenix. You'll notice that the planet is apparently a harsh desert, even though it says province of Antioch, and Antioch is a fucking jungle area, and Ire generally is a jungle planet. So that's an obvious inconsistency as well that completely shatters the fourth wall and completely breaks your suspension of disbelief. So I don't know what the fuck was going on there. That doesn't make any sense at all. Why would that be there? You might ask. And I am also asking that, so I hope you're asking that too. And then we get into the whole idea of what that cutscene actually represents. So that cutscene represents Blizzard's utter laziness. They recycled, as far as I'm concerned, like it's effective. It's tantamount to recycling some cutscene from some other point where one nameless zealot is in some ruined desert shrine and gets confronted by a single Hydralisk. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it is actually the case that Blizzard made that cutscene and said, yep, that's Fenix, and that's the Citadel of the Executor in Antioch on Ire. Yep, that's exactly what that is, even though it looks nothing like it. Maybe that's the case, but I don't have any evidence. I have evidence that points to the fucking contrary, that evidence being the cutscene itself. The idea that they would just completely do that, like, they threw out all the consistency right there. And on top of it, the death is not even impactful. Not only that, but unlike the Zerg campaign cutscene, the Amerigo, that has like this long drawn-out battle scene, they didn't even try to make it so that the Protoss were attacking. I have some ideas as to why that might be. It's probably more expensive to animate some sort of melee attack, because you can't just have them move their arms up and down or whatever and a gun shoot off, right? It has to be a melee attack. So maybe that's the case, right? I can't immediately think of any situation where I would actually say, yeah, there was a zealot doing a melee attack in the cutscene. I don't think that was ever the case. Now, obviously, that's not an excuse for not doing it, but I can understand why it didn't happen under that circumstance. But that being aside, the fact that they kill off a character for all intents and purposes, only to bring him back later in what feels really forced, which you'll see later on. Like, to do it in such a lame way further confuses me as to why anybody thought Fenix was a cool character to begin with. Like, he dies in the lamest way possible. His battery pack falls out and lands on the ground and makes a fart sound. Okay? Like, that's what happened. Don't tell me otherwise. I saw the Newgrounds cutscene for that one. I know what happened. The hunt for Tassadar, Protoss command ship Gantrathor, holding orbit over the planet Char.
Executor, I know that you were reluctant to leave Ire in this dark hour, and that you still grieve for the loss of your comrade, Fenix. But remember that he lived and died as a Templar. He has reached the Kala's end. There is no greater glory than that. We Judicator are called to look beyond such matters, to ensure the safety and future of our people. It is not the Zerg, but the rogue Tassadar, who represents the greatest threat to us now. If he is allowed to spread the Dark Templar's tainted influence to Ire, all will be lost. We will find him and bring him to judgment. Tassadar claimed that this world was abandoned by the Zerg just prior to the invasion of Ire. Yet I still sense a lingering darkness here. Be prepared for anything, Executor. If there are still Zerg on this world, then they must surely know of our arrival.
So obviously the idea that the Protoss would up and leave their homeworld while their homeworld is under attack by their mortal fucking nemesis, their arch nemesis, the Zerg, that they've previously just burned planets alive to extinguish the Zerg threat in order to safeguard the rest of the galaxy. Yeah, okay, now their planet is on the chopping block, but it's okay to just leave. The idea that they would just leave and fuck off to somewhere else to find some other guy is so ass backwards. If this were presented a different way, where it's their last moment, man, they must go and find some lost fucking guy who's hidden away, and he's like last, or not Last Jedi, the other one, The Force Awakens, that fucking Star Wars movie where they have to go find Luke Skywalker, and he's like hiding away on an island, and they need a map to get him and all this shit, and MacGuffin and so on and so forth. So, okay, maybe then I would justify it, right? It's like, the Zerg are threatening us. We don't want to glass our entire planet. There's got to be some other way. And Judicator Aldaris is saying that we must do it. But I know there must be a better way. I'm Fenix, and I can tell you, Executor, to go all the way and find Tassadar. Go now. I'll try to stop Judicator Aldaris from destroying our planet, from taking such a drastic measure. Like, at least then it's like, okay, well, it's in line with the Protoss glassing worlds from before, and then you can find Tassadar, who is the one who's decided not to glass the world at the end of the Terran campaign, so like there's some consistency there. I don't know. Again, just riffing here. But that would at least make some sense. Like, we're finding some lost hope, our last hope, who's also lost, our last lost hope. And we got to find him, we got to bring him back so that we can avert total destruction. Instead, we're just fucking off to go find some guy to arrest him. Like, it's so flaccid a goal that nobody would get behind this. Nobody feels good about this. And as a result, nobody would really do this. I don't think you can justify the Protoss having such crazy tech and make it so that the Protoss are so fucking good at creating these war machines, these droids, like the Reavers and shuttles and observers and probes, these things that are manufactured specifically so that they can, you know, serve the war effort in very powerful ways. I don't think you can say that, yeah, you're really good at this, but you're also complete retards when it comes to battle tactics, like leaving your fucking homeworld that is of extreme cultural significance to you, as well as being of extreme strategic significance to you. Yeah, we're just going to leave that while it's under attack by the enemy, while the enemy is on it, while that same enemy is what we were glassing entire worlds and extinguishing all life on their surface for the sake of destroying. Yeah, that makes sense. That's totally sensible. So that's like obviously the first thing that everybody looks at. Like pretty much everybody who's looked back at this campaign has said Alderus is an idiot. But Alderus is an idiot to such a degree that it undermines the characterization of the Protoss in so many different ways. From the fact that there's no glassing talk of glassing eye or anything. From the fact that there's obviously we're just abandoning the planet in the middle of a battle. From the fact that he doesn't even seem that concerned by the Zerg. He's like, yeah, it's fine. It's all just shit. And that wall of text that was enormous, by the way, that preceded this mission is also just embarrassing. Also, the idea, of course, is a bit of a talk ahead, but the idea that Fenix gets resurrected and, you know, stuffed into a Dragoon shell and told to keep quiet about this whole thing. And that happens, apparently, like, I guess that's hush-hush or something, because Alderus apparently doesn't know, or Alderus is deliberately keeping that a secret from you for some reason. I don't know. That's another reason why the whole Fenix thing feels so forced. It's like they did an ass pull, but they were already done with the production of the entire campaign up until that point. Like, they were making the mission, writing the script, and doing the cutscenes all at the same time. Well, no, if they did that, they would probably be a bit more consistent. But it's like, all right, we got the script for mission 1. Okay, he just finished writing the script. Let's voice act it. Let's put it in there. All right, write the script for mission 2 now. And then, like, they just did that, and then they never went back to do any revisions. That's what it feels like. It's like, oh yeah, what if Fenix comes back? Oh, okay, cool. And then they didn't consider this fucking giant gaping plot hole where Alderus specifically tells you that he's dead forever. Now we can find Tassadar and bring Tassadar to the beacon. A micro mission. I always go the same way when I play this map, acting as if I've played this map quite a bit, but you know what I mean. And we get Psystorm research by default, which is a obvious gimmick. Since we don't normally get that. I was tempted to start attacking my own Zealot with that weakened Zealot, because that's the Warcraft 3 strategy. And this is basically Warcraft 3. I think we're supposed to go up this cliff, but there's probably a million pre-placed units over there, so... So you can tell we're having some fun. At least we have the path of least resistance now. You don't even get any description as to what these abilities do, by the way. Like, a new first-time player, he sees the button that says Psystorm. Oh, hey. And then he... Like, who knows what he would actually do. Oh, see ya. He might storm his own units like Veek. Oh, nice fucking level design this is, man. Oh, wait. Do they just have full vision of me? I feel like they might. Because they just fucking, they knew exactly where I was at the beginning. Maybe they just had revealed vision and it wasn't updated yet. Starcraft is a little funky like that. Alright. First time ever doing that one, so that's my excuse for why I sucked dick. Oh, of course we have the fucking lamest units to bring back.
Aldaris, Executor, how is it that you've come here? I was about to abandon all hope of rescue.
I have come to arrest you and bring you home to Aya to stand trial.
Arrest me? Ire burns at the touch of the Zerg. You travel all this way to arrest me?
Don't let it get to you, man. This happened to me once.
Who is this human, Tassadar?
The name's Jim Raynor, pal, and I won't be talked down to by anybody. Not even a Protoss.
Amusing. Tassadar, your taste in companions grows ever more inexplicable. Executor, prepare to take Tassadar into
Executor,
custody.
wait. I do not know what they have told you about me. But what I have done for Ire. Help me find Zeratul and his Dark Templar. They alone can defeat the Overmind Cerebrits. Once we have won, I shall gladly submit myself to the judgment of the Conclave.
Unthinkable. You presume that we would side with the Dark Ones as you have? You have gone quite mad, Tassadar.
You shall speak of them with respect, Aldaris. Executor, there is much that I can explain to you. If only you'll help me find Zeratul.
This is Jimmy.
Well, we don't get any opportunity to counter this, so... You?
Anytime you're ready.
Oh, I forgot they just spawn in some men.
I hear you. It shall be done. Of course. Tarakala! You of course have engaged.
Oops. I thought that that might be a little bit more impactful. Well, this is a fucking shit show.
We are under attack.
Raynor here. Sounds fun. Raynor here.
Trying to kill my own Nexus and they attacked me. What a bunch of goofballs.
I hear you.
Well, this is goofy.
This should be good.
Nice micro map.
Sounds fun.
Oh, okay.
Right
See you,
on.
nerd.
Warriors have engaged the enemy.
I hear you.
This is Jimmy. Right on.
So yeah, obviously they just spawn in all these guys.
Right on. Oh yeah.
But did they expect me to destroy that? Yeah, I guess they did. Fuck. Well, that set of Hydras probably would have hit us anyway. Weird that they don't burrow, though. Oh no. If only these were StarCraft 2 High Templars so that I could feed back.
Your will?
Just see a million queens die in one hit. More like Endure Command. Hey! That was my man! Did a man just run away? Oh, he did.
I hear you. Of course.
That man is no Protoss.
Executor, it shall be done.
Just, you know, just chill. It's fine. would be funny if I lost the mission if my base died or something. Hey, you fucking lunatic. Wait, am I hallucinating? Oh, I guess the units that started out on this map were actually blue, or purple, or whatever the fuck. I guess that makes sense. Hi, get over here. Oh!
I hear you.
Nice spin.
You have my thanks, Executor. Now let us find Zeratul and speed our way home.
So a classic pause in the middle of gameplay just to, fuck you, I guess. I don't know, there's really no justification for that long of a pause, too. As we descend further into this pit of despair that is the classic campaign, we are experiencing quite a bit of tism. And that is coming in the form of many pauses, many nonsensical dialogue lines, many cutscenes that have nothing to do with the game, many inconsistencies in other places as well. Just pretty much the worst of the worst. That being said, we do have, we have quite the variety of other things to complain about here. We have a significant amount of shit that just comes from the complaints that are in that mission. Like, that mission itself was designed to waste your time, and then they waste your time more with the dialogue. They could have just made that a cutscene. And of course, Tassadar reacts like we did when we heard that Aldaris was ordering us to fuck off and jump into Char while Ayre's dying to Zerg. As we'll find out later. I mean, remember that at this point, the Overmind has already landed on the planet and is currently surrounded by Cerebrits and all kinds of Zerg. And that's fine. It's totally fine to just jump off of Ayre. Like, at that point, you just threw your script out the window. I don't really give a shit. So that was the real disaster right there. And then, obviously, Tassadar and Raynor have their quips, and Raynor is a little bit of comic relief, and that's fine. But it coming in the way of us actually experiencing the game? Like, we're not playing the game in this mission, and the story is just jockeying us every which way. I guess we're introduced to Psystorm, but we were already introduced to Psystorm because they cast it a few times in the penultimate mission, but not in the final mission of the Zerg campaign. So, yeah, I don't know about that one. Like, we should already know that it exists. The idea that we're only now seeing one of the most obvious hallmark spells of the entire Protoss race 4 missions into the Protoss campaign, and that in any capacity justifies a micro mission, what in essence is a micro mission, is just laughable. It's like, oh yeah, we got to learn how this works, even though we've had it cast on us before and we know to evade it. And when we see the icon, we can probably make the connection. Well, no, you got to baby your players, you know, so that includes having babies make the map. Obviously, I'm not doing an editor review for that one because it's basically a micro map. But I'm sure Mutas doesn't can find some base to expand to. Choosing sides. Protoss command ship Gantrathor, low orbit over the planet Char.
Executor, by following Tassadar and attempting to rescue the Dark Templar, you have openly defied the will of the Conclave. Abandon this mad scheme now, and the Conclave may show you mercy.
Don't let him control you, Executor. The Judicator have long since steered the actions of the Templar to their own ends. It's time we acted of our own accord.
Ah, Tassadar, have you fallen so far? To think that you were our brightest hope, our most beloved son. Now you are everything that we are not. You are lost to us. Not only have you damned yourself, but you have damned those who have followed you.
Such is the price for our race's salvation, Judicator. I have been here with the Dark Templar these last few months. While I helped them in their fight against the Zerg, I learned many of their secrets from the Prelate, Zeratul. Apparently, the energies which empower the Dark Templar also course through the Overmind and its Cerebrits.
The same Cerebrits which you told us to destroy. Your advice was useless, for the creature was reincarnated before our eyes.
Unfortunately, yes. Your attack on the Cerebrit failed because the energies that you wield are useless when used directly against the Overmind and its Cerebrits. Only the Dark Templar's power can truly harm the Zerg. That is why we must rescue Zeratul and return him to Ire.
You were warned, Executor. The Conclave will not be pleased.
So another thing that they could have done with this to make it a little bit more narratively impactful and to make the story flow from cause and effect to a bit greater degree is if they wanted to keep the same nonsensical go arrest Tassadar thing, they could have made his advice and his order to kill the Cerebrit result in Fenix's death. Like maybe Fenix stays behind, like he says, to monitor the Zerg, and then when the Cerebrit reincarnates, that's when he dies. Like the Zerg resurge, there's a resurgence that his position gets overwhelmed. And maybe that causes you to immediately, at first, you're like, you know, charging forth to kill off the Zerg in an attempt to rescue him or something, instead of that nonsensical fucking nonsense map that we started in this video, the third mission. And that would involve something to the effect of like, oh, we're trying to save him or something like that, but we fail. Like we're not able to do it. So even though we killed the Zerg that were stopping us from getting to him, the Zerg still killed him first, so, or something like that. Like we get there and we find his body or something. I don't know. You could do something there. And then it's like, oh, Tassadar's order in some capacity. Like first we tried to save him, then we couldn't. And then we got angry because Fenix died because he was following Tassadar's orders. And then Aldaris says, all right, go get him. And maybe Aldaris is like using this to his own political gain by getting Tassadar back. But at least then it's like, okay, well, it's very emotionally charged. It's still very stupid for a supposedly enlightened race. But I can relate to that. I can relate to making an irrational choice because you're overly emotional at the loss of a friend or a battle brother or whatever. So at least then it's relatable, even if it doesn't necessarily make sense for the Protoss, because the Protoss are supposed to be hyper intelligent and super, you know, consistent with each other because they have a kind of hive mind with the Kala if you read into that. But obviously from what we've experienced so far and not looking at the manual yet, we're pretty much in the dark about what that even means. So for all we're concerned, maybe they are also emotional people as well. So then it's fine. And maybe it works out as that in that way. And then they could still jump in here to charge in, and then Tassadar could be like, oh, I'm apologetic for killing Fenix. I didn't mean for it to happen. I only found out afterwards that this is actually the cause, or something like that. And then we have a reason to go get Zertul. But in the in-game of the previous mission, like in the transmissions that were basically, like, again, that could have been a cutscene or something. That could have been a fucking briefing of us arriving to get him. That would have been fine if he said what he said in this briefing. But instead, he just said, I can explain to you a lot of shit, but we have to find Zeratul. And at that point, like, why the fuck would I trust him? He's been shown to be distrustworthy with the whole Cerebrit thing. And on top of it, like, we don't really know him as a person. Like, we have no idea who he is. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. That whole fucking... It just doesn't make any sense, man. It's just flat out, like, was the laziest way possible. And then he explains himself anyway in here. It's like, why not just explain... Like, why even have that last mission? It doesn't even make sense. Bring Tassadar and 2 zealots to the installation entrance. Well, installations. Installations. So it's over here. I think you can cheese this mission somehow, but I'm not really sure how. We are going to need to find some way... Oh, I know how. We can try to catch 2 Scourge with each hallucination, and that would be epic. Oh, didn't work out, but that's fine. I was trying to figure out, like, how does that work? So obviously, one of those Scourge is enough to kill a hallucination, but not an actual shuttle. But it's really not that much more. It's like a Scourge and a Mutalisk hit will kill it. So hopefully they don't restock those positions. Trying to find my way to... All right, so with enough energy, if we were to go here with Tassadar, 2 zealots, and then 4 shuttle hallucinations, right, 2 casts of it, we should be able to bomb into here And even just 2 should probably be enough to do it. Should be enough to handle that, right? So I say we try it, just because. Why not? Alright, good. They didn't restock these just yet. At least I don't think you have to actually do anything about the Zerg in front there, so. Oh, well. Of course I couldn't. I just click unload all. Alright, ready? Now that we know that. Should be fine. I'm pretty sure you could just do it. I don't think you need to clear the area. Doesn't say anything about that in the objectives anyway. Why? Why would they? Wow, nice opportunity for me to fucking restart the mission, by the way. Why is there no restart button when it says right there? It literally should have just been a button that they added. Would have saved me so much fucking effort. Hello. I like how all 4 of those Scourge, or whatever, however many were over there, they all just decided, fuck you, man. We're suiciding. Alright, come on. This is my victory lap right here, man. Alright. I guess I probably should have saved the energy for the second grab bag there, but... Hey, fuck off, dude. Nobody asked you. And we should be able to make it. Maybe not. Alright, so the good thing is we can land right here. Because this is a very functional tile set.
Not enough energy. Not enough energy.
I like how that's not even remotely close to Aldaris' voice. They just got the carrier guy to voice act that one. Alright, let's do it, boys. I think it is actually a ground-only location. Maybe it was just lag, though. Like trigger lag. Which, unfortunately, is a very real thing. Hello? Dude, why? That fucking thing where they stop you from actually placing shit. Like when you hold down a key, like I'm holding down the Z key for the Zealot. Oh. I'll hold down my mouse and I'm hitting Z. There you go. That's an example of it. Oh, okay. So that's like one of those cases where it's just some bizarre technical limitation or bug as far as I'm concerned. I'd love to get rid of that for my own stuff, but that's really disorienting because you're actually using them. You're like you're pressing the buttons, but they just don't work. All right. Off we go to our little island session. I'm telling you, man, this can work, okay?
Yes, Executor.
I'll wait for 4, just to be on the safe side. I don't even have a fucking gas. Oh, look at where it is. All right, well, there's no there's no justice in this fucking world when that gas can exist. Holy shit. Wow, That destroyed me.
Executor,
Well, here we go.
it shall be done.
Hey, that's rude.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy. You will be saw soon.
There we go. Fuck yes! See ya, nerd! Well, should I even bother opening that map up? I mean, I guess. Man, to think that my gas is over here. Why? Why not place it right here? You could have done that. That could have been where you placed it. You piece of shit. You pizza shit. Also, if you destroy a building, Duke yells at you and some battlecruisers spawn in. Oh, a Duke. A Duke's forces spawns in, as well as a billion wraiths. Oh no, I think it's just if you walk into this area. So that's embarrassing. I didn't show that off, but apparently Orange has a start location halfway across the map. And what? What? Why? Why do you do this, Blizzard? What is wrong with you? Also, spore colonies where you can't actually place spore colonies. Hey, at least there's a hatchery up here to explain the creep up there. Isn't that epic? Also, infested command center, but they never attack you with infested turrets. Or maybe they do on this map, I don't think I've ever taken longer than like 5 seconds on this map, so I don't really know. Pre-play Scourge out the wazoo. Yeah, it's an AIDS map. It's like the 4th Zerg mission, except there's less meme-worthy expansions. This is psychotic because of the number of invalid, inaccessible mineral fields. This one has 2, or maybe just 1. I'm not sure if you can grab that one, but probably not. Yeah. Shit. Next. Okay. Wastelands, Terran Dominion Border World Char, Dominion Base Camp, Reconnaissance Detachment. Oh yeah, talk about a fucking non sequitur cutscene right here. Nice walk cycle.
Hey, Sergeant! Sarge! Hey!
Yelling, not
will
radio.
immediately tell me why you have called me from my desk, Private.
Protoss unit, Sarge! Coming through the South Pass! It looks broke!
Kill it! Fire!
Oh yeah, yeah! Feel that hot love right up your tailpipe!
Oh man, that cutscene was a fucking disaster and a half, wasn't it? Not only was it a non sequitur for the story, but it also has nothing to do with the game. That fucking mech unit that just shoots off a rocket or whatever, not in the game. The idea that you're playing like dropship or shuttle unloading sounds while an arbiter is recalling and decloaking units has what the fuck? The sound effects for the Dragoon firing and the Dragoon dying are all wrong. They include interceptor noises, science vessel noises, probe noises, reaver noises, but no actual Dragoon noises, or maybe the one firing attack. I don't know. I couldn't even fucking tell. What a cacophony. What a fucking disaster. Dude, they didn't even look to see if the cutscene was from the right game. That was clearly from some like psychotic World War II era Terran human thing versus some space invaders. That had nothing to do with anything. Guy was shouting and using binoculars when there's like futuristic fucking radio and stuff. Like, what are you doing? What an embarrassment. Nto the Darkness. Protoss command ship Gantrathor, low orbit over the planet Char.
Executor, I sense that Zeratul and his brethren are close by, but I have been unable to make contact with them. I fear they may be in grave danger. We must scour this area immediately and find the Dark Templar, lest they be overcome by the Zerg.
Why do you have? How do you even have time to talk to me when you're in the middle of a fucking installation? Rescue Zeratul. Tassadar must survive.
Yes, Executor?
I long for combat.
3. Wait. What the fuck, dude? He only gets 2 plus 3. This is bullshit. I can't make a thumbnail out of that. Hi, how are you? Dude, they got plus 2 carapace. What a bunch of pranksters.
Of course, it shall be done. Of course. For Adun. Mind if we tag along? Yes, Executor. What now calls? Good to go. I hear you. I long for combat. Honor guide.
Also, no explanation as to why they would want to tag along. And last we were there, we were just fucking destroying them. But because of budget cuts, they didn't bother making, any installation other than a Terran one. So that's not really budget, because I have no fucking idea why they decided to do that. I just assume they're lazy. Ah!
Your will? Of course, it shall be done.
Mind if we N along?
It shall be done. Yes, Executor. Of course.
Well, there go everything. All my hopes and all my dreams. I should have pulled that guy back sooner. I can get Protoss reinforcements later, but what a shitty unit the Infested Terran is. Only useful in gimmicks. They also spawn one underneath you in this map, so that's pretty epic. There's a trigger that center views. It's specifically underneath Tassadar too.
Honor guide me, thus I serve.
Teleportation field activated.
Nice sound effects, dude. This is a custom map made by fans. This is actually designer Dave made this map.
How may I help?
Could you imagine?
Of course.
He did make an installation map. It's called Deception. The real deception was him getting paid to work at Blizzard. Oh.
Yes, Executor.
Okay. That time it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it would have been. I thought it was going underneath Tassadar. I guess it's like your rightmost unit or something. I'm pretty sure that happens more than once in this too. But that's fucking sinful.
How may I help? We gotta move.
Well, if Tassadar followed my attempted order, we might be okay here, but you know. Oh, sorry. I accidentally got us a single control group of units to control.
Yes, Executor.
Oh man, what a fucking stupid thing. You just stumble upon combat and that's basically it. I don't even remember. Oh, that's the one that spawns on top of him.
Your will for Adon. Yes,
See?
Executor. How may I
This is a real map released in a real game.
How may I help? For Adon. Of course.
I think there's I thought there were a set of Marines up top or something, but I guess it's just that I was remembering that you could see the Marines over there.
Adon. It shall be done.
Oh, that's my reward.
Of course. Of course.
Jesus Christ. My reward for exploring is getting face to face with misery.
For Adon.
And
It shall be done. For Adon.
what do you even call it when you're convinced that you were a personal victim of the Holocaust? Whatever that is. There are more men over here, right? It's just that there's fucking spawn of...
I serve your will. It shall be done. Of course. Mind if we tag along? Yes, Executor. For Adon. I long for combat.
Where's the N? Oh, maybe that was the N, actually. I guess triggers don't detect hallucinations. This is what the fuck, dude?
Commander, standing by. Commander, rock and roll. Commander, go, go, go. Thus I serve. Honor guide me. Your will. What battle calls.
Well, we got a chance to use that hallucination after all. Wasn't a complete waste of energy. And we kept our zealot alive, which is something.
Yes, Executor. Thus I serve. Honor guide me.
Check this out, ready?
Teleportation field activated.
I think you can do it.
Honor guide me. Colossus. Commencing. Confirmed.
How embarrassing.
Yes, Executor. For combat. Receiving. How may I help?
Well,
Jacked up and good to go. Hear that? Yes, Executor. Jacked up and good to go. Yes, Executor.
that's pretty epic.
Executor. Your will. I hear you. How may I help?
What a fucking disaster this mission is, too. Alright, well, the right side is pretty much pointless, but I guess I'll drop a fucking save.
For Adon. For your will. Transmitted. Yes, Executor. How was that?
Oh, I tried to attack move with Tassadar, but I selected the wrong control group. That's fine, we only lost Marines. They're replaceable. But the idea that they have to do that as gotchas, it's pretty psychotic. Oh my god, what a fucking mess. How did he only get grazed by like one tick of Psystorm when he ran through it like that? What a fucking asshole, dude.
Of course.
I mean, I know I'm mad because I'm bad, but I'm also mad because I'm playing this. You can't even say you're playing this. Oh, I've got to backtrack after all this anyway. I haven't unlocked the door yet. Yeah, at this point, we're just gonna reload. Go this way instead. And that fucking input shit is pretty infuriating, to be honest. Alright, well, I guess we'll reload again.
Confirmed. Your will? Standing by. Rock and roll. Go, go, go. Rock and roll.
Are you fucking joking? Fuck off!
Guide me. I serve. Guide me. Commander.
Jesus Christ. All I wanted to do was kill
May I help?
an N. That's it.
For a door. Checked up and good to go. Go, go, go.
Wonder what happens if I do this.
I long for combat. Go, Kola. Honor guide me. For Hadun. Go, Kola. For Hadun.
Oh, I guess that has to be
Commander, let's move.
Tassadar.
Yes, Executor. Jacked up and good to go. Outstanding. Transmitted. I hear you. For Adun. Tarakala. What was that? It shall be done.
That's 3.
Of course. Give me something to
Oh, well. Guess I'll run down here and quickly rescue those Mongols.
Commander, let's move.
Hi.
Outstanding. We gotta move. Your warriors have engaged the enemy. Let's move.
It's okay, they'll go back home.
Your will? I am needed.
I am naked. Alright, now that we can just save over this and continue on our path of misery. Of course there's another one. Why wouldn't there? Dude, how many fucking infested Terrans are there? Seriously.
Outstanding. Give me something to shoot. Jacked up and good to go. Rock and roll. Standing by.
A literal Necron made this fucking map.
Standing by. Yes, Executor. For Adora. Tarakala. Your will?
Oh wait, maybe this is where I have to backtrack actually. Fuck! God damn it. Dude, imagine making a map where you've got to backtrack over here. Look at this! Look at how long this corridor is! Look at how fucking slow my hero is!
Your will? Tarakala.
Dude, what a mess! So all we gained is clearing a long-ass corridor of 4 traps and 2 ends. The difference being 1 equals 3. Also known as misery. Oh, and my units can't pathfind to an area because something Starcraft. Sorry, I don't know how to play the game. I don't know how to move. Epic.
How may I help? Initiated. For vengeance. I hear you.
This that even happens in remastered, by the way. Nice bug. I like the just fucking borrow. Yeah, it's fine. Also, the idea that the traps are here, but they don't bother shooting the Zerg is pretty embarrassing. All right, now we can fucking run all the way over here. Backtrack. Dude, you know how fast I would be shit campaigning this EXE if it worked? Jesus Christ. Nobody should have to play this. Quote unquote play. This is not a finished product. This is an affront. This is malicious in its incompetence. It shows a complete contempt for the player. Nice pathfinding. This whole map is just fucked, I think. Units pathfind in ways I've never seen before. And I've modded this game for 20 years, so Explain that one. Oh yeah, and then after all this, I think we have to fucking backtrack again, but I don't really remember. Maybe not. There's an insane gotcha over here, though. You are witnessing art. You actually have to block his exit path with another unit in order to get him up the fucking stairs. He's some fucking baby. Okay. Again, pathfinding at its fucking finest. Okay.
Standing by. Let's move. Outstanding. Tell me I help. Your will? Of course. Receiving. Your will? Yes, Executor. I hear you. I'm here. How may I help? For Adun.
I don't remember where this
I'm here. Yes.
actually is, but it's something like
Yes. I'm here.
fucking onslaught of men. Notice the mission I'm having the most difficulty with is the mission where there is no gameplay. There's no way for me to It's all the times where I'm like trying to cheese something, basically. All right, back to the 2 Zealot squad. Oh, did I just immediately place them in the wrong area? How embarrassing. Oh my man, baby. Oh man, what a fucking disaster.
Let's move. Outstanding. Finally. Your will? Call the shot. Jacked up and good to go.
Well, I guess the attackers come from this angle. Who would have guessed?
I long for combat.
Go, go, Ahmed Ranger! Banana, he's spinning. Bam, bam, bing, bing, bong. There you go. Everybody died in a blaze of glory. I've got Ahmed, so it's cool.
It shall be done. Of course. Jacked up and good to go. Outstanding. Standing by. Rock and roll. Return of the heel. Will. Tarakala.
Door is locked, by the way.
Tarakala. It shall be done. For Adun.
I like how there's just no explanation as to what the fuck is the cause of...
Tarakala. Of course. For Adun.
They had to put a beacon because they're permanently closed.
It shall be done.
Instead of, I don't know, just sharing vision or something. Oh, hi. Dude, I thought that was,
Adun. Of course. It shall be done. For
an infested Terran.
Of course. Greetings, Dark One.
Dark One!
I've come to bring you home.
Homo.
Greetings to you.
Oh, my wall of text.
I knew that you would not forsake us. For in the time that you
Exposition, exposition, exposition,
have
exposition.
learned to value our ways and our methods. You have learned to channel our dark power as well
Dark
as that
power.
of your masters. And thus you alone have found completeness beyond the scope of the Kala. But I fear that the Conclave in its pride could never bring itself to welcome outcasts such as we.
Outcasts though you may be, it is your vision and courage that may yet save our homeworld from the swarm. I beg of you, Zeratul, return with us to Ire. Though they are petty and have in ignorance cursed your kind for generations, help me save our people.
Since our banishment long ago, we have never failed in our responsibility to Ire. Though it shall cause us great pain to see our homeland once more, we shall return with you, Tassadar. We will do what we can.
We will die slowly of brain cancer. I don't even really think there needs to be an explanation as to why you don't end your shitty fucking infested Terran simulator micro mission with a giant wall of text. And there's no bases in that for you doesn't it take, so bye. Homeland, Protoss command ship Gantrathor, holding orbit over the planet Ire.
Greetings, Executor, and greetings to you, Tassadar. I am overjoyed to see you both return home in this dark hour. The Zerg have redoubled their efforts, and it seems... It can't be. The Executor told me of how you fell before the Zerg. How is it that you live and breathe? Well, after my unfortunate defeat, my ruined body was recovered by our brethren. I now reside within the cold robotic shell of a Dragoon. Old friend, would that this never came to pass. Nonsense! There is no shame in defeat, so long as the spirit is unconquered, and I am still able to serve Aya to a degree. But enough of this. There is much you both need to know. You have been branded as traitors by Alderus and the Conclave. Even now they seek to arrest you and execute the Dark Templar Zeratul. I never believed that they would go so far. In the face of total annihilation, they still cling to their failing traditions. Yes, and that makes them all the more dangerous. They hunt you even now, Tassadar. And though I damn myself by doing so, I shall stand by you till the end. Entaro Adun, noble Fenix. Executor, it seems that if our world is to live, we must protect the Dark Templar from our own brethren. Although it pains me greatly, not even the Conclave shall stand in our way.
I could just glass it and leave. Destroy the heart of the Conclave. Fenix, Zeratul, and Tassadar must survive.
Executor.
Oh, continuing the briefing, I see.
Are to cease your resistance and surrender yourselves to the judgment of the Conclave. We will take the outlaw Zeratul into custody and deal with him as is written by the Kala's law.
Flee back to your masters, Alderus, and huddle with them in darkness. For your actions shall send us all unto the Zerg.
Okay, bye.
Warriors have engaged.
2 probes! Wow, 2,500 of each resource. Well, you know what that means.
We are under attack.
Hey.
Standing by.
I do have a pretty roomy base, so I can do stuff like this. I vaguely recall being an idiot kid at some point in this playthrough and wondering why I couldn't win.
We are under attack. Awaiting command.
So I think I built 1 billion Archons. Obviously, I won't be doing that this time. You can pretty much just win by shuttling in a couple of Reavers. You just have to kill a Nexus in the bottom right. There's apparently another way to win, which is just killing some other stuff. But I don't see why I would ever want to do that. I like how he has the exact same stats as when he was a Zealot in terms of health. and shields. I don't know about armor. Probably. Dude, why attack at one scout? Why? Well, once we get a decided upgrade advantage, we can actually play the game and attack. Until then, everything that we do would just be rebuked immediately.
Upgrade complete.
Yes, very well.
Upgrade complete.
I got excited. Hey, these guys are important. I can't replace them.
Very well. Reading instructions.
You've not enough minerals.
Feels good to have more than 2 gateways.
I hunger for battle.
And hey, we'll be able to build or get another level of weapon upgrades very soon. I guess I could get a 3rd forge just for shields. But seems a little overkill.
Upgrade complete.
Setting E instead of W. Gotta move my keyboard over. I could get an observer, like place it right here, and try to get snipes on their observers with dragoons or something, or God forbid scouts. Oh, I have an observer. Oh, off he goes.
Awaiting command. My life for hire.
Once again, I can't train any Dark Templar, so... Not until the next game. Then I can. Alright, let's go, dude. See what happens. With my emphasis on a fast +1, surely I should be able to win some fights. Oh, sorry.
Upgrade complete. Yes. My life for hire. Thus I serve.
That one extra zealot will turn the tide, man.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Oh. Never mind. They have a pre-placed brigade.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy. My life for hire.
Yes.
For a second, I thought they didn't have any sounds, but it was just because of all of the dragoon shells.
Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
No, do not stasis me on the bridge. That would be horrible for everybody involved. Alright, I'm gonna need some more, I think. Wow, we might actually win off of this push alone.
You have not enough minerals. I am needed. Your warriors have engaged the enemy.
Standing by.
My life is higher.
What now calls?
Hey, your reavers are stuck.
Very well. So be it.
Have engaged the enemy.
I can't believe it was that easy to just walk into their base, to be honest. Impressive.
You've not enough minerals.
Well, the swarm of defense units from their infinite coffers will be somewhat stymieing in this particular case. I guess I actually ought to get some fucking Templar, some Archons, just for the sake of... Oh, hi. But yeah, just for the sake of, using some of my insanely high stockpiles of starting gas. Just trying to space them a little bit better. Alright, well, I guess just more probes then. And more gateways. I don't think the Archons are really going to be that impactful here. But I've been wrong before. It's very rare, but it does happen. I think I just need more Zealots. Hopefully the Archons can take some of the Reavers. Let's fuck him up, dude. Get him. Notice that Red has been basically just sending a couple of scouts at me this entire game. Pretty useful AI ally, honestly. If I had him on my team, I'd probably win most Hydra games.
You've not enough minerals. My life higher. Thus I serve. Sanctus. What now cause?
Maybe we should wait for our upgrade timings. At least our plus 2 armor should probably... Dude, look at all these pre-placed carriers. Holy shit, attack add 4 scout and attack add 4 reaver.
Upgrade complete.
Your orders, Templar. It will be done.
How may I help? Of course.
Alright, we should be able to finish this off now, especially with those reinforcements. What's up, man? Again, Protoss units don't really need to be microed, and obviously AI-controlled Reavers are aids. Even though you can outsmart them easily, it's not like they lose the investment of a Reaver. See you, nerd.
Have engaged the Executor, Eldaris. This madness must stop. The sight of my brethren slaughtering one another is more than I can stand. I fear you would doom us all, Aldaris. I surrender myself to the Conclave. Nto the Darkness, Executor. Don't give up the fight.
Tassadar of the Templar.
Oh, this is gross.
By your actions, you have severed yourself from the mercy of your brethren. You refuse to destroy the Terran worlds as was commanded. You have questioned time and time again the sacred will of the Conclave, and you have abandoned your home world in its darkest hour. Most grievous of all is that you have allied yourself with the blasphemous Dark Ones, and learned to utilize their profane powers in tandem with our own. What say you, O fallen Templar?
Aldaris, I submit myself to the Conclave's judgment. But know this, given the same choices again, I would surely have made them. I have sacrificed all that our world might live. I have sullied my honor. I have discarded my rank and standing. I have even broken our most ancient traditions. But never think that I would for one moment regret my actions. For I am Templar, and above all else, I have sworn to protect our homeworld till the end.
Who really wins when you click this victory button? If Aldaris could have just warped in a shuttle and 2 carriers on top of Tassadar, what else could he have warped in? Maybe 4 Reavers to immediately annihilate him? Maybe some infested Terrans from Char to immediately annihilate him. Why the fuck didn't he do that sooner? Again, this is just insane. It's like, also Tassadar being a little bipolar there, you know, where he at the beginning in the briefing here he says not even the Conclave will stand in our way, even though it pains me greatly, and then he's like, oh, I'll just change my mind. But like in the same fucking line as him saying that he's going to surrender himself, he tells you not to give up the fight. That probably should have been the ending to the mission, honestly, instead of all that extra shit, which like really told us nothing. But like, what a fucking miserable map. What a miserable way to end the map. It was just a micro or a macro trainer of you spamming a bunch of units around and doing nothing with them. Speaking of doing nothing with them, look at all the stuff that you start out with. Look at all the stuff that the AI starts out with. Oh, nice base. A lot of inaccessible mineral fields there. Look at all this shit that the AI starts out with, man. They didn't train a single unit. If they did, they didn't need to. They had all the attacks for the next 20 minutes pre-placed. Pretty much the same deal over here. Those 2 pre-placed carriers. I don't even see... I saw 2 pre-placed Reavers up there, but for some reason they weren't there when we bombed in and initially A-moved. If they were, that would have made the initial attack a lot more difficult. For whatever reason, they were like shuttled around for... Just vanish. Fucking pulled from the ether. See you later, dude. Well, there's not really a whole lot to elaborate on in this mission. Obviously, the layout's pretty terrible because you just have 1 base to take, and it's pretty close to red. Like, it would make a lot more sense to handle that a little bit differently. But, yeah. I mean, under normal circumstances, I would push on and complete this ship, but these maps have been so empty and so void of content, I've really had to drain myself to provide commentary that I think is even remotely close to being worthwhile, to the point where I can already feel a lot of resistance to doing that again. I really want to talk a little bit about that before I go, because I think it's important to understand why you might have been drained while trying to analyze some of these maps. And it's basically because you're trying to analyze shit that doesn't justify the effort of the analysis. I made this point when talking about custom campaigns in one of the more recent podcast episodes of the Big Boys Table. And one of the things that I said was a lot of these campaigns that are made and the thought to critically analyze a component, say a dialogue line or an expansion being placed in a map or whatever, the thought never occurs to the developer of that content that they should be justifying whatever they're doing, be it an expansion or a dialogue line. Or if they do try to justify it, they use the just very inefficient axioms to justify it. Like, I'll place this expansion in an asinine way because that makes the map harder, or that is more immersive, as if that should matter instead of gameplay mattering, or in addition to gameplay mattering. Like, strike a balance, you know? And either they justify it incorrectly, in my opinion, or they justify it, or they just don't justify it. They don't even think about it. They're just slapping shit in there and they're not even considering it. Well, the latter seems a lot more like what Blizzard did. Very little of what Blizzard did with this game feels calculated. Some cases, it's just like a happy accident. Some cases, maybe you can say, yeah, it was calculated. Like, clearly, the cutscene that we saw from the Amerigo was pretty neat and had some stuff going on there. Battle on the Amerigo, or whatever it was. The Zerg cutscene that I said was pretty good. That cutscene had some planning. That was some, the result of... I highly doubt it was the result of just slapping shit together like the rest of the campaign has felt. And that's what it feels like. It feels like they didn't consider any of this stuff. And so when you're experiencing content, when you're playing content, and it exudes this sense that the developers just didn't give a fuck, that they were maliciously incompetent with some of the stuff, and otherwise just generically garden variety incompetent otherwise, in other places. It is draining. It feels like I've been sitting here trying to grasp at straws to figure out a way to justify or relate to the development process and the developer's mindset. What were they thinking when they decided to place all of these pre-placed units? But at every turn, I come up against the now I would call it an assumption, but it's basically been borne out at this point that they weren't thinking about anything. They weren't thinking at all. There was no justification for any of this shit. Like, their justification, if it existed at all, was just this will take the player some time to grind through, and that's not justification I can get behind when it comes to an RTS. Why would you pre-place all this stuff? Why wouldn't you just make it so that the AI builds up? Like, they even have a similar feeling for you, the player. They pre-place a bunch of stuff for you in this mission. They give you 2,500 minerals and gas. That's an absurd amount of money. Without it, this map would have been even more of a grind, and maybe I would have actually seen some attack waves other than the attack ad 4 scout, attack ad 4 reaver. But that's about it. Like, this was to make no mistake, despite the fact that this was a straightforward macro experience where I just built a bunch of gateways and A moved, it was still miserable because of all the pre-placed stuff. It was still made artificially longer and more annoying, just by virtue of the way that the map was designed, both in terms of defender's advantage of this insane starting location where you have to attack into. I guess I could have gone this way too. I didn't even think about that. But both by virtue of the level design and also by virtue of the pre-placed brigades, neither of them help here. And it just doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't feel like there was thought put into pretty much any of this. It feels like these maps were thrown together in about an hour on somebody's weekend before they went back to snorting cocaine or whatever it is they do at the Blizzard office in 1998. Or I guess before then, 1996, 1997. And that is my thought process, man. This is an unfinished product, and I just played a lot of it. So, as we close this video out, I hope you have enjoyed the commentary and the criticism and the English language. And it's definitely time for me to go when I'm making verbal typos like that. So, this will be it for our second video through the Protoss campaign. I will close things out in a probably shorter than usual video for the final set of missions. And after that, we'll just go ahead and jump into Brood War in episode... what will it be now? It'll be episode 8 for Brood War, but episode 7 of the playthrough for the last of the Protoss, so stay tuned for that. This is my last day off in a while, so you will experience the next bit of content, chronologically speaking, whenever I end up having some more time to produce more content. So stay tuned for that. Keep your eyes peeled. And like I said at the end of the previous video, please make better maps than what I've had to play today.